Jai Hind viewers, welcome to Military Intelligence Discussion Series at Global Eye Intelligence. I am Shivam Chandelier, Military and Foreign Affairs Analyst at Global Eye Intelligence. We are a geopolitical and intelligence platform. We often hear and read about the economic, political, and military might of People's Republic of China, but its real capabilities are always under some foggy conditions. It is often said that rarely anyone has direct or clear idea about the military capabilities of China. So, to get the clear picture, we have with us today in our first episode of Military Intelligence podcast series, Commander Sandeep Dhawan. He has served in Indian Navy as an executive officer, a qualified prime instructor, and a maritime pilot for 21 years with 13,000 hours of flying experience before moving to the civil aviation. He is a geopolitical expert, writer, speaker who regularly appears in different digital platforms and writes for various publications. Making out time from his busy schedule, he is here with us. We'll discuss one of the burning issues, or I would say a secret, that is China's real military capabilities. Welcome, sir. Welcome to our platform.
Hello, Shivam, and Namaskar, Sastakar, everybody, all the viewers and listeners. It's a pleasure. Today, I got the opportunity, and for the first time, I have come to your channel and the organization. So, yeah, let's begin, get into the topic, the hot topic straight away.
Yes, sir. So basically, sir, before I was doing a little bit research about
Yeah.
your previous podcast. So you have appeared on the various podcasts of P.R. Shankar sir and Adi Achin sir. So in that, you have talked about the Galwan issue. Before getting into the real capabilities, in short, I would like to understand. I would request you to please explain the brief about the disengagement happened between India and China last year. And the second thing which I would like to little understand is, can we trust Chinese in this disengagement or de-escalation, whatever this terminology is used?
Yeah, very nice, very pertinent question. So, if you heard the Army Chief and Chief of Defense Staff at various forums, okay, though the External Affairs Minister he has said that okay, we are disengaging, but Army Chief and the CDS they have categorically said that we are not moving back. Okay. Only
Okay.
the concessions which have happened are the joint patrolling, etc. So, in my view, there is still a lot of trust deficit. Okay. Now, China, which is known for its wolf warrior kind of image or sharp power image instead of soft power or hard power, they keep shifting from cunning country to they get into the they call smile diplomacy. Now, world around countries have understood their these tactics. So, if you go into the history of our talks with them, India was very determined that we will not back down. Okay, so the commander level, the meetings have happened regularly, continuously. So they have reached only a kind of joint, patrolling agreement, and they have moved slightly away, right? And rather than just staring into each other, and because that can lead to some kind of confrontation because of a mistake from any side. So that is the only thing which has happened. Nothing physically has moved much more than what actually was desired.
Okay. So that comes to me one point in my mind. So, as a geopolitical, I would not still call myself an analyst. I would still call myself a student of it. So, I have seen there is a difference always. That is my personal reading. There is a difference between the point of view of the bureaucracy, the MEA, and the army or armed forces. So I was researching about it, and I saw that there was a post. I mean, there were some statements made by our previous NSAs like Shiv Shankar Menon and all NSAs, and even the current NSA, Mr. Ajit Doval. He said that there is no military solution to the China problem. And whenever MEA is being asked about the question of uh, this Chinese, they are very light toned and very, I mean, they show a lot of trust. But when it comes to the Ministry of Defense or the armed forces, like, is this deliberate? The difference is deliberate, or I know I'm trying to understand this, that why there is softer side to
Yeah,
the
so
MEA and the
that's the way that's the way the diplomacy works. Okay, the diplomats will would not tell you 100% which is happening on the ground, and because it is their work, it is their duty to keep negotiating and keep the hope going. Okay, that there would be a solution to the existing problem. Okay, so in fact,
right.
what I say is that the present thaw, or there have been many thaws between India and China, but this is kind of war delayed. Okay, a war postponed, a confrontation which has been postponed. If you see the intention of Chinese, okay, when Xi Jinping came to office in 2012, and again he got upgraded in 2013. 2013, there's a Hong Kong publication that published an article that the six wars China has to fight in next 50 years. Okay, you also must have heard about that.
Yes, yes, yes.
So in that, the first war is for that is between 2020 to 2025, which is already gone for unification with Taiwan. Then, second war. The third war is to regain control of Arunachal Pradesh, which is between 2035 to 40. Okay. Now we have seen that the first war did not take place. Okay, because Xi Jinping thought that he is going to barge through the military. He will get his own people, and they would be ready, and we will fight a war. Unification will take place. Blah blah blah. But it doesn't work just like that. Okay, so what he did in 2020 was fast forward, bring the third war to that time and postpone the first war to third war or the second war position. Okay, that is why if you recollect that the CIA director in USA, the previous one, he had categorically said that have complete intelligence that 2027 is the time when China is going to attack or try to unify Taiwan with them. Okay, so that is why we saw the action in 2020, which lasted till almost 2025, and that was the time frame given for the first war. And they shifted that target to the third war, and third war was, or second war, and the third war was brought to the first location, that is between 2020 and 2025. So it is a clear-cut indication. However, it was a stalemate. They very well know, even if Xi Jinping doesn't know, his generals know that they cannot fight a war with India and win a war with India. Okay, so in fact, he has promoted since 2014. He has promoted 67 generals. Okay, he has been on a spree to promote generals, but he has also purged 42 generals. They are nowhere. Many of them have died under circumstances which are suspicious circumstances. So he basically wants the yes men. If I desire this, a typical dictator who says that I want this result, I want to be produced yesterday, and it has to be produced. So, but the generals are not fools. They know the ground reality. So, under the pretext of various indiscipline or the corruption. He has purged 42, that's a huge number of generals, okay, who have gone. Then China faces many other challenges, which I will discuss with you later. But this is the present reality. So as of now, the smiling or smile diplomacy, the Indian diplomats are seasoned diplomats. Indian army and the other forces are seasoned, so we can see through their mask and we can read them today. It is not 1965 that we were not able to read, because our diplomats, or sorry, 1962, that our diplomats were very new in the game and they did not understand it very well.
Right, sir, right. So from here, sir, I think the pertinent question I listen to is that the Indians have in mind that the military people usually say that Chinese are not 10 feet tall. So what is this 10 feet tall thing? And so, I mean, how the military capabilities lies in comparison China and vis-a-vis. And let's start with the Navy, as you are a naval maritime pilot. So let's start with Navy. What is the comparison between Indian Navy and specifically the war capabilities, sir? I know we Chinese have very high numbers, but the numbers is not what we are looking.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I will slightly go off the topic and start with two capabilities. Okay, today China is fighting wars. They call it war by all means. Okay, which has asymmetric warfare, and that has also got the symmetric warfare or the kinetic warfare. Okay, so I had given one huge paper on this, the how India per se is getting encircled, okay, by these two big forces. That is, one is USA, another one is China. Now, there are different phases. If you see now, all around India, every country is a kind of a crisis zone or conflict zone. Okay, you take it, be it Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Maldives. There have been chaos, either already ongoing chaos or in the past or very recent past. So these are the designs. Okay, so I gave them those. This is kind of asymmetric warfare where they want to subjugate India, and to subjugate that, the first thing is masquerading. Okay, the first phase I coined is called masquerading phase, where they promise you, okay, that we are like Hindi Chini bye bye, that kind of thing, or the USA saying that India is our sole partner in Indo-Pacific, and those kind of dialogues. And they give you a lot of promises. But heart to heart, they are trying to blunt your capabilities. Okay, and that is what has happened in 1990s late or early 2000, when the China blunted our capabilities. And what capabilities? Obviously, they not blunting us militarily, but they were doing it commercially. So they made us dependent on China commercially. And now in China, there is no separation between military and civil. Okay, whereas in India we have, or other countries, we have clear-cut demarcation. China doesn't have that demarcation. So that is how they made us. If you look at the rare earth elements, okay, China used to control earlier 90%. Till 2011, they used to control 90% rare earth elements, which are used in, no, it's very innocent kind of thing, rare earth element, okay, it must be being used somewhere. But if you see the military use of the rare earth elements, that is very, very vast, from fighter aircraft to precision missiles to just about everywhere. today rare earth elements are being used. And even today, China controls 70% of world's production of rare earth elements. Okay. Recently, if you recollect, they have barred from exporting a couple of gallium and a few other things to USA in retaliation. Okay, India
Yes, sir.
is
Yes.
90% dependent on China for the rare earth elements. Okay, so that is then you come to, let's say, the bright spot of Indian industry, that is medicines. Okay, the generic medicines, India is the superstar in the world. But to make those generic medicines, you need APIs. Okay, APIs are the active ingredients for
Pharmaceutical ingredient.
pharmaceutical. Yeah, so those we depend on China
China.
70%. Now 30%, which is left, also has an initial ingredient. Okay, it's called some starting ingredient. So without that, you can't make the APIs. So even those 30% APIs, what we are producing in India, the starting material is also coming from China. So that is how, in not only this, so many fields. Okay, it's a different and altogether complete topic which we can talk for 3 hours. So just what I'm trying to tell you is that is how masquerading, they made us dependent. Okay, we were laughing, we were happy that, oh my gosh, that factory is opening in India, India is opening factory in China, so and so being produced in China. But end result is what? That even today the Diwali lights come from China.
China.
Okay, that is the end result. That Indian businessmen have become traders and industrialists have become traders, and even they are. We were net exporter of iron. Today we are importing iron in huge quantities. So that is, after that comes the utter chaos phase. Okay, the utter chaos phase is like in which you'll see what just we saw in Bangladesh. Okay, the spring revolutions. The whole phase started in 2011 or so, when we saw Anna Hazare movement. Thereafter, we saw CAA, NRC, blah blah blah, and so many movements we saw. Okay, or farmers protest. These were all being funded by various agencies from outside. Okay, in fact, in 2023 during SCO meet, their defense minister told Indian defense minister that let us separate the border issue from our other talks, okay, the business talks or the other diplomacy or various kind of other things. Let's separate that. So that was not the request. That was a warning given to India. And soon after that, we saw the action in Manipur. The protests in Manipur started, and then the fight started, and then it has taken a very, very ugly shape today.
Ugly. Yes, sir.
After utter
So,
chaos comes the subjugation phase, and which they were trying in 2024 with PM Modi, and up to certain extent they damaged. Once again, this is a very, very different topic altogether. So this is how the asymmetric warfare is taking place all around India, and how it is being done around in the other countries, that we will again not touch. Now let us come to the symmetric or the kinetic warfare. What are the capabilities? How we go about that? So your question was about Indian Navy. So in fact, Indian Navy is the most comfortable force today amongst all the three forces. Okay, so we are moving towards 175 ship navy, which is a very capable navy for the Indian Ocean region. Okay, if you recollect during the Red Sea crisis and Houthi crisis, it
yes, sir.
was the Indian Navy which was going up to the Horn of Africa, it was doing rescue operations, it was chasing away the pirates, it was the all kind of action. Where was the Chinese Navy that time? It was nowhere. So that is the reach of Indian Navy, and by 2035, aim is to reach 200 ship Navy, and all modern ships and modern equipment and stealth ships. And if you recollect recently, that we have put the ISC-2 slightly away from what we were trying to do. It has been put in a kind of cold storage. And we are going for the attack nuclear submarines, which are the need of the hour. We've been at it for last almost 19 years. We could not achieve it, but now the focus is that side. And I'm sure ISC-2 will also revive once we make some progress in this direction. Coming to the Chinese Navy, the Chinese Navy has become huge, okay? 350 ships and hundreds of aircraft and various other UAVs, etc. They have. So their capabilities have really increased, but they more than that capability, they cannot operate in the Indian Ocean region because they're very scared to move out of the first island chain, because that is their core area, the first island chain, which encompasses almost all the countries in Southeast Asia, East Asia, and Northeast Asia. So they keep pontificating, or they keep blabbering that one day our carrier battle group would be in Indian Ocean, but those days are still far. You remember almost 10 years back, till 10 years back, they used to laugh at USA. What are these carrier forces you talk about? These are just one missile away. But what is the result? They bought one a defunct ship, which was actually a casino from Ukraine,
Yes.
turned into
A aircraft carrier.
Then they made their own, they made their own aircraft carrier, and now the third one. So they learned it is not, all bullshit or garbage aircraft carrier. It is also, in fact, it is the most potent force projection. If anything, anybody can do, that is an aircraft carrier laden with 30, 40 fighters and helicopters. It gives if any aircraft carrier enters any harbor or passing through another country, it gives the kind of projection which no ship, no aircraft, or no submarine can give. So it is a power projection, the aircraft carrier. So that is why my suggestion and what I've been writing was that ISC-2 has to come. And Vikramaditya, in any ways, it is on its last leg, and how long it will last. So we got to have, I'm not saying we operate 3 carrier force. No, I'm advocating for 2 carrier force. And now with our experience, maybe we will take 5 years, 6 years, not 10 years like previously, to produce an aircraft carrier. And by the time, I'm 100% sure that by the time AMCA would also be, sorry, not AMCA, the TEDBF, which is the twin engine deck-based fighter, would also be taking some shape. So we would be having TEDBF, our own deck-based fighter, as well as our own aircraft carrier. That would be one of the biggest achievement for us. And unfortunately, we are stuck in a whirlpool where we are not able to get over the difficulty of the aero engine. The engine is the heart of any fighter aircraft, and that is where we are stuck. Now, while talking about engines, let me tell you that even China is stuck in that position. Okay, they have produced many engines, so kudos to them that they somehow could, because they're very good in reverse engineering, and they have reverse engineered almost everything what China has got or whatever they've stolen from USA and Western countries. But they're very good at that. So we have to give it to them. Now they have produced WS10 and then various categories of WS10 engines. They've gone up to various higher level engines. But if you recollect, recently they flew mysterious sixth generation aircraft, they called it. It
Yes.
had three engines. Okay. Now, nobody would like to put three engines on a stealth aircraft, but they had put it. That shows that the capability of the engine is still not up to the mark that twin engine aircraft or single engine aircraft will be able to power that aircraft. Okay, so that clear cut shows that they are not there, but yeah, they are way ahead of us, and we have to give it to them. Uh, that's about it. I would say about Indian Navy. So Indian Navy is quite okay, quite safe. In fact, when I proposed the integrated theater commands structure in my one of my articles, which went up to CDS level. So in that, I had projected that we should divide the oceans. Okay, we should think big because today Indian businessmen are going, let's say, to X number of countries, but tomorrow the Indian businesses would be opening factories and the establishments in Africa, in Latin America, the various places. And who gives the protection to these businesses is Indian Navy. That is why we should have had, Southeast Asian Command and the Arabian Sea Command and, Far East Command and those kind of commands would have given a different meaning rather than just Eastern Command, Northern Command, Western Command, Southern Command, those kind of integrated commands. So that is what I had projected, but somehow they don't want people to get alarmed because if you give the names I had projected, then it would have been a totally different projection for countries like USA or China that they will get alarmed that, okay, India's got some very big designs for those areas.
Yes, sir. So that your idea was totally making Indian Navy a true blue water navy and covering the whole earth as possible. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. So let us,
the,
should we touch upon Air Force?
so carrying forward with the discussion, sir. Before we move forward to
Yeah,
armed
I can't,
forces,
why I can't see you? Okay, yeah, okay, I can see you.
okay, sir. So before moving to Indian Air Force, I would like to have some questions regarding the Indian Navy and so this string of
Okay.
pearls policy. So you were discussing that the Chinese Navy is not very comfortable in Indian Ocean and they want to be restricted to their South China Sea and East China Sea in the first island chain. So this string of pearls they are creating to garland India, I mean to cover India from Arabian Sea to Indian Ocean and then Bay of Bengal. So how this is useful for them? Like they have ports, but if their navy cannot enter into Indian Ocean, then how will they look for their interests?
Yeah, so now it's a very, once again, nice question to ask. If you look at all the ports they're creating, okay? They have created a port in Bangladesh, Myanmar, Maldives. They are working on a kind of port, but Maldives may not happen. Then Gwadar, which they're trying to convert into military port. So per se, military port wise, if I would say, Djibouti is the pure military port they have as of today. Okay, and the Reem naval base in Cambodia, that is a semi kind of naval base they have. Rest all are still not naval base. They have invested money. They're hoping like hell, like Humber Tota, these countries, they default, and then we will take over these ports and run these ports. Okay, but in this, I will tell you like Sheikh Hasina port, BNS Sheikh Hasina, which is the submarine base they have created. Now, Bangladesh has got just two defunct submarines, bought from China, so which are of no use. So obviously, it looks very fishy. Then comes the Pakistan Gwadar port, which Pakistan is demanding a hypersonic missile technology from them, which China is not very comfortable to give to them. And that is the reason that Gwadar is not becoming, as of now, a military base. Otherwise, it would have become. However, since you've asked me this question, I will also add that China has very smartly, under the garb of say, okay, they have positioned. They are Pakistan, as for Pakistan, is buying eight, Type 39 B submarines from China. They're buying their most prolific frigate, that is Type 54, and they are also now in the process of, for the Air Force side, they have already bought J-10C, and they are asking for J-35, which is the new supposedly stealth aircraft. But these are, in my study, in my reading, Pakistan doesn't have wherewithal to buy these machineries because they are 6 times their annual military budget. Okay, so that means if they spend 6 years of their military budget, then only they can get these hardware. And they've already got it. So that means there has been some kind of arrangement where China has positioned their military hardware there, because now they cannot say that it is our hardware because there would be a huge hue and cry. So they have named it as a sale. Now they have created in the Karachi harbor huge facility to service these submarines and frigates. They have created servicing facilities for J-10C. And remember, these 3 platforms are the most potent platform China has got today. They have the largest number of these platforms, be it a submarine, frigate, or the fighter. So that is one threat which we face today. And if they position F-35, J-35, then, again, but I will conclude when I conclude the whole Chinese, how the war fighting machinery and their capabilities. That is the time I'll come back to these aircraft and submarines and their capabilities. But I leave it that. So now, if you look at the location of all these bases, almost all the bases are either in the Bay of Bengal or Arabian Sea, and within missile range from India. So these are not some safe harbors. They're not from some far away that they will, their carrier battle force will come and attack India. Everything is visible, everything is being tracked, and so we are ready for that. Having said that, but I've already told you, they have only one fully operational naval base, that is the Djibouti, and 50%, I would say, is the Ream naval base. Now, compared to that, you see, we have the one naval base we have already created with a strip in Mauritius. Okay, that is called Aganega Island. We have a docking facility in Oman in 2 of their ports, and in fact now they have given us an exclusive zone for our military activity. And we are trying with Indonesia for some time, and looks like that things are going to progress further with the recent visits, etc. So we are trying for one more base there. In addition to that, we have our base in Lakshadweep, which is the latest one, and also on the Campbell Bay, which is the southernmost point of India, very
Well,
close to
international.
the main shipping lane.
Yes,
So
sir.
these are the unsinkable, aircraft carriers we have in Indian Ocean region. Along with that, our naval aviation forces, which we have P8Is, they cover almost all of Indian Ocean. Okay, I had written about it some time back that how from flying from various bases they cover. So the commanding officer, Captain RK Singh, he had stated that there is no possibility that a ship or submarine passes through Indian Ocean and we do not know about it. So that's a huge statement. That's a big statement. That means they have capabilities and capacity to track each and every ship and submarine in Indian Ocean.
Great, sir. That is very assuring to listen. So, I have been to the Aero India show in 2017, and I saw this mighty aircraft P8I Poseidon, and that's a great radar. I think. So, second thing, sir, let's move into the Air Force. So, recently, when this Chinese sixth generation fighter aircraft came, so there is one rating I came to know about is this total value rating of Indian Air Force. I mean, all the air forces, in which they rate the capabilities done by WMMDA. In that, though the numbers of Chinese Air Force is quite high from us, and they are already running a fifth gen aircraft, and we are currently on 4.5 gen if we see Rafale. But
Yep.
if you see, they are showing the world that they are into sixth generation. But they are there this rating they have less than India. I mean, that is very shocking to me.
Uh, See, I would not really agree with these ratings because these ratings have different parameters. Why they would have gone and given that rating is because as of today, if you see, China has got no proven platform. These are all platforms created in peacetime. They have not taken part in any action. Okay. Now you can do simulations, you can put AI data, but the AI data and simulation are far, far away from the actual war. Okay. So, like Eisenhower had said that I am always for a plan for a war. Okay, though it becomes redundant when the actual war starts. Okay, but still I will make a plan. So that is what. So you have made aeroplanes and you have made fighters. If you just tell you the history of Chinese Air Force or PLAF, their MiG-17, okay, sorry, JS-5, which they built almost 1800, that was based on MiG-17. J-6 was built on based on MiG-19. They made 4,500, okay. J-7 on MiG-21, and even the JF-17 or FC-1, what they call it, the Pakistani JF-17, that is also based on MiG-21. Then their J8 was amalgamation of Su-15 and MiG-21. Their J11 is Su-27. J16 is Su-27 and Su-30. And J15, which is their Navy uses, is based on Su-33. In fact, they went and bought outright aircraft from a model from Ukraine and converted into their own aircraft. So these are the capabilities. So they have not produced anything on their own. They're copycats, they're masters. I've already told you, and so that way we have to give it to them. In fact, their most capable aircraft as of today is J10. Again, that is based on F-16 and Lavi. Lavi is a Israeli aircraft design which they made along with the Americans. but then later on they backed out, but the designs and blueprints, everything were there with them. And Chinese were very smart enough to buy those designs and produce that aircraft. That is how they got J-10, and that is the most capable aircraft because that is based on F-16 and Lavi. Rest J-20, you've seen it is again they got a defunct MiG 1.44 design and stole F-22 designs and produced J-20. If you compare, okay, after this talk, just compare MiG 1.44 picture with J-20. You'll be shocked that they're similar aircraft, but that is a defunct design. And now latest is J-35, which is copy lifted from F-35. Yeah. So there are indictments going on in USA. There are people in jail. So very smartly, as I told you, that war by all means. So this is the war by all means, that they send their scientists to work in their laboratories. They send their students to study in their universities. But the idea behind is to get maximum technology from there, steal it, whatever you can do, just get it home. And that is what they have been doing. So this is the capability of their aircraft, their platforms, and they have not proven themselves in any war. Last war they fought was 45 years back. After that, in which they came, the third in the race of three people. So that's about it. So that is the capability part.
So basically, sir, they are just first they were copying the Russians, the Soviets, and then they have shifted to now with these Americans.
Yeah,
So they
because
are
see,
just
the
trying.
Russians, not much of funding is going in Russian technological advancements, unlike the Western countries. So China also realized that they have also a limitation. They have reached a limitation. And beyond this, if you see the checkmate, the Su-75 or the Su-57 which has come here, they have only few basic models of few Su-57, and Checkmate has got that Su-75 has got no working model as of today. So that is the reality. So Russia doesn't have funds to put into any kind of serious research as of today. So China realized that, and that is how they have started stealing their Western designs. In fact, China works on a principle called 3 Rs. I have named it as 3 Rs. That is rob, replicate, and replace. So we'll talk about it sometime later. It's again a big topic.
Sir, please tell us more about this men versus machine debate. So how about the Chinese pilots? How well trained or
Yeah.
in the exercises?
So there's a very interesting topic that whether if machine is good, what about the man behind the machine? So if you recollect, for a year ago, almost, we had this news that the British, American, Australian, South African, almost all the many of the NATO pilots who are retired fighter pilots, they have been hired by China to train the Chinese pilots. So now just understand, has India ever hired any pilot? Because these pilots are available, they're retired pilots. We also could have hired them, but we have not hired them. Okay, even Pakistan has not hired any American or British pilot to learn flying from them. So this clearly indicates that their capabilities are lacking. In fact, the Chinese Navy, especially, has produced large number of J-15s, but there are very few pilots who are capable to do the deck landings and operate them. Same goes for the Air Force pilots. you'll be shocked to know that in last 1 decade, 2,000 Chinese pilots lost their lives. Okay, and this I'm not saying, but this came out in their one South China Sea magazine is there. It was uttered in that. So that means if 2,000 pilots lost life, that they did not lose life in road accidents. They obviously lost life in air accidents. So even if 25% of those fighter aircraft were flying dual, then that means 1,500 aircraft they have lost in last 1 decade. That's a huge number. So that shows the capabilities and capacity of both man and the machine. They fly very less. Almost 100 hours used to fly only every year, which is way less than all the other air forces fly across the world. And third thing is that they seek too much direction. Okay, there's a Air Force magazine of China somehow that got leaked. That is not supposed to be coming out in open forum, but so people got hold of those magazines, and in which there were talks about how and what are the capabilities and limitations of Chinese pilots. So they seek a lot of direction from their ops rooms or the bases or the commanders. Okay, so they lack that last moment decision making capabilities, and but in that nick of time, whole thing will just change if they are not able to act without getting a direction from their bosses. So that summarizes the capability of the man behind. But I will not still not take away from them because they realize the mistakes. Okay, they realize the mistakes, they realize the limitations. The good thing is that they are working on those limitations. So that's a very big thing. That if you realize and then you start working on it, so I'm sure they will come up to some standards very soon. So we should not sit back and relax and they, oh wow, their pilots are incompetent or not capable. No, they will come up. They know their limitations and they're working on it.
Okay, sir. So, I mean, I have some kind of a, I don't know if it is a political question or not. If you don't want to answer, you can. But, sir, that comes 1962 in my mind, and we always, as a young people, uh, have seen that why Air Force was not used, and this question always perpetuates my mind as well. So, what is your take on that? Taking the capabilities of Chinese, we must have some intelligence at that time as well.
Yeah, but yeah, again, it was a political call. Okay, it was a political call, and which was supported by the army chief of that time, that we are capable of dealing ourselves and we should not involve the Air Force. So I'll just limit this question to this because
Sure, sir.
that is what is happening, happened that time.
So basically, armed forces, at least army was on the table with the decision.
Yeah, that's right. So army was hand in glove with the prime minister at that time. So they did not give a clear picture. That is why it is very important that the armed forces bosses, chiefs, they are honest in their summarization to the political bosses, which is a big thing in India, which is not happening in China. What I told you, because
Yes, sir.
he has surrounded himself with all the yes men.
Yeah. Yes, man.
So
And there were multiple.
the loyalty in China is bigger than the capability. So their generals are not capable, but they are loyal. And despite that, they get purged because of insecurities of Xi Jinping.
So basically, they're loyal to the party, not to the nation's cause.
Absolutely. So they are parties, army, no, or Air Force or Navy, not other way around. So
Yes, sir.
now Okay, so now vis-a-vis, now let's have a look at Indian Air Force also. Okay,
Yes, sure.
so Indian Air Force, we are down to 31 squadrons, as you must be aware, and
Yes,
it might go down to 29 squadrons soon. So this is going to be, our lowest point, and it might go even further down because MiG-29s, Jaguars, then Mirage 2000, they are all in line. We are not getting engines. GE has just recently made promise that we will start supplying engines from March 2025, but which is again 2 years late. But still, let's hope and keep our fingers crossed that that happens. So this brings us to a very important aspect that Atmanirbhar Bharat, or getting our indigenous engine, whichever engine it is. Kaveri is again gone into cold storage. So it is very important. You cannot depend on G or Safran or any other outside agency to give you engine, and you want to now go from F404 to F414 to
well, four.
higher capabilities and capacities. That might happen, might not happen. Because all our aircraft, okay, be it Tejas Mark 1, Mark 1 Alpha, Mark 2, AMCA, TDBF, all are stuck because of this
Engines.
snafu. Yeah. And even if let's assume that these engines come and we start, producing aircraft as per schedule or maybe behind schedule, still by 2035, we will have still only 35 uh, squadrons, fighter squadrons, okay, which is again way less than the 42 which Air Force projects. So our capabilities are under lot of strain, and for some time this whole thing will continue. Then 114 MRFA aircraft, that topic is going on and on and on and on, and it's not seen any light at the end of the tunnel. Whereas compared to this, forget about the capabilities and capacities. China is producing 90 aircraft, 4.5 to 5 Gen, 90 aircraft per year they're adding to their Air Force. And remember that the Stalin said that the quantity has quality of its own. Okay,
Yes, sir.
if you see from olden days till when the Cold War got over in 1990s, till that time 28 naval wars were fought. Okay, and only three were won because of technological advancement. Rest all were because of the number. The sheer number was so huge that 25 wars were won because of the sheer number. Okay, I in fact name it. I call it the mosaic approach. Okay, or the mosaic strategy. That means you have large number of cheap platforms, and they swarm the enemy area. And let's say your hundreds of UAVs are going, and 90 get knocked down, or 20 get knocked down, or 50 get knocked down because of their sheer numbers you have present with you. You put again back those numbers and their cheap aircraft or cheap UAVs, and you produce the result. Okay, the sheer number will overwhelm the enemy. In simplified terms, not it's not that
Yes,
simple,
sir.
but yeah, I'm just trying
It is
to
the same.
put
I think
across.
yes, sir, the same strategy maybe must have been used by these Hamas rocket forces on the Israel. So there were sheer number of
Sheer number.
rockets
So
were
that
more
will
miles away.
overwhelm the radars, that will overwhelm the, and just imagine 30, 40,000 dollars missile is being shot down by $1 million missile. So the
Missile. Yes,
kind
sir.
of expenditure you are doing, And same thing was happening when Houthis were attacking the Saudi Arabians and UAE. Okay, they were the Saudi Arabians were spending $2 billion every month to stop those incoming, very basic missiles made by some rudimentary methods. Okay,
Yes, sir.
now let's continue on the Indian Air Force part. We have one big advantage. Okay, aircraft wise, yes, I told you disadvantage, but our airfields, okay, our airfields, the Indian airfields are located at a much lower elevation, and because of that, that gives us huge advantage. They can carry more fuel, they can carry more armament, and so their range is more and their capacity is more. Whereas the Chinese airfields, which are in the occupied territory of Tibet, they are at very high level. Okay, so that means either they carry fuel or they carry armament or they do the compromise on both parts. That means partial fuel, partial armament, and then they take off, and then they have to be done. They get the air-to-air refuel, which is again in that kind of scenario, it's not a very welcoming thing because the refueler is a sitting duck, and when the fighter is getting refueled, that is also a sitting duck. So these are the advantages India has, and especially towards the Ladakh side, lesser towards the Arunachal Pradesh side. Then, if you look at the number of airfields we have, and mind you, we have 29 highways, national highways, which are dual use. Okay, that no given time, within no time, we can just stop the traffic, start using those highways as runways, and that number is huge, 29. So they are available to us in addition to the large number of fighter bases we have facing China. Okay, almost 120 fighter aircraft we have positioned along the border with China. And China has got about 1,200 missiles, okay, in their Western Theater Command. Now, you'll be surprised that to destroy or stop the operations from a particular airfield, you will need almost 600 missiles to destroy one airfield, okay? So that means that those 1,200 missiles will be gone just to destroy two runways, and we have capabilities to repair those airfields within 2 days. So that means even after spending 1,200 missiles, our runways would be up and about running within 2 days. So that is a huge advantage we have.
Okay, sir. So the problem you were discussing about the 29 squadrons. So I was also
Yeah.
listening to the recent Air Force chief speech, and he made a joke about that. Is it ये कोई rocket science है क्या? And we can say now this is कोई aircraft science है क्या? So the rockets, we are good at making rockets, making ASATs and missiles. But I mean, as an observer, I am not able to understand why this engine is creating so much problem. I mean, this and also this GE 404 engine and 414 engine we are looking from General Atomics. Is the issue political or is the commercial issue that we have not got this?
Yeah. So they, in my understanding, it is a political issue. GE is projecting it as a supply chain issue. But if you look at Korea, their supply issues, there's no supply issue there. It's running smoothly. It is running smoothly wherever they're using G engines. Only India has got this issue. However, now with the leadership change, we foresee, and that is why, just imagine, within no time, G has announced that, okay, we are resuming our services from March 2025. So from my side, it was a sheer, pure political push because we were keeping our independent way of working. We were not going with China. We were not going with USA, leaning towards USA, but not fully 100% with them. which was not being liked by Biden administration. We were buying oil from Russia, which was again not at all liked by them. They could not say it openly because they wanted India, because we are the most capable partner they have in the Quad. Okay, if anybody can stand up to China, that is India, not Japan, not Australia, no other person. They can expand Quad to 10 other countries. If they get all of European nations together and try to take on China, they also cannot take on China. But India can take on China.
Yes, sir. Then about the indigenization of this aircraft or basically the engines, because we see Navy has done a lot great job in indigenization, and multiple submarines have been out, and the efficiency in working has improved. But why this problem still pertains in Air Force? Is it because just because of the public sector unit or
No, if
the
you,
private
yeah,
sector?
first of all, because we are still in very nascent stage of our defense establishments in the civil. Okay, so they are still trying to find their feet in that industry, and they have made okay, they have made huge progress, but still it is just the beginning. So aero engines especially take a lot of time. Lot of time. It is not a easy thing. Even Russia, which made a lot of progress, and we still use a lot of Russian engines, AL-31, 41, and all. Even China could not master that. The art of they have best art of reverse engineering in the world, but they also could not produce. Even they have not produced for their C909 this, civil aircraft for what they have produced. The engine is still not theirs. So engine technology is a very niche kind of technology which takes decades to master, and it is not easy. So be it India, Indian Air Force, or be it Indian Navy, we don't have engines. We have everything else, but not engines. The move part, that's the engine is called move part. Okay, that is still we are depending on the foreign vendors.
Okay, so this is the extra information because in political case it's always HAL the scapegoat. So I'm just trying to understand what is the actual issue.
No, HAL
Mm.
is not the part of it. It is the DRDO, which is trying to develop
Okay,
the engine. And
okay,
we have to understand that DRDO says that our budget was very less, so we could not, produce the engine what Air Force wanted. And so Air Force said something else that no, they could not. They have taken enough time. They have got enough budget, but they could not produce the engine. So it is the blame game which goes on. But what I would say is that maybe we should get PPP model for the aero engine, and I'm sure the kind of work we have already done on Kaveri engine and a few other engines, we should be able to produce because after all, we are producing many other engines.
yes, sir. Let's move to missiles and the space force. So where how does India stand against Chinese in this?
Yeah, so we have huge capacity and capability when it comes to the uh, missiles part. Uh, let's first, I will just go over the Chinese missiles, and then we'll see what kind of missiles we have. Okay, so their missiles they start with the DF series. Okay, so DF-15, 15A, B, C, then DF-11. So these are SRBMs, short-range ballistic missiles. Then DF-16, then DF-21, which is MRBM, which is medium-range ballistic missile. So the short-range ballistic missiles, they have up to maximum 1,600 kilometers, which is DF-16. And the DF-21, can go up to 2,150, whereas DF-17 is 2,500, and DF-26, which is they call carrier killer, is 3,000 kilometers. Okay, so in between there was one DF-27 also talk came, which is either based on DF-17 or DF-27. So which has got multiple entry vehicles. So that becomes more challenging to handle. And then they have some cruise missiles like CJ-10 and CJ-100 with the 1,500 and 2,000 kilometers range. So these are their capabilities. Now, it's a huge challenge for India, okay? Because the Chinese missile force has become very big, and it is creating a lot of challenge for not India, but all the countries around them. Okay, China has got 13 land neighbors. If we do not include Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and they have 6 maritime neighbors. So that makes it 19. Okay, 19 neighbors. They called 24 maritime neighbors plus land neighbors, but actually speaking, they have 19 neighbors. And their area, the land area is 2.9 times more than India. The coastline is double of India. So their challenges are much bigger than what India faces today. And so the can you hear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello?
Little internet issue.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So their challenges are immense, but they have made huge progress, and that is a worrisome thing for us. But we have a large number of the missile arsenal, which are either already ready or in some kind of preparation or other. Whether we go by the Prithvi missile system, or you go by the Agni missile system, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5, no, we call it 5,000 to 8,000 kilometers range, which is a huge range. Then we have Agni P, which is canisterized and more than 1,000 kilometers range. So we have then Nirbhaya. In fact, I am very interested in Nirbhaya because Nirbhaya, if you just position around Arunachal Pradesh, it can reach up to most of their major towns and cities. Okay, and even the Three Gorges Dam also it can reach, which is one big worry for China. So if when we make our own rocket force, as of now, whatever news I'm getting, that we are limiting our rocket force range to about 500 kilometers. But in my thinking, the rocket force range should be not less than 2,000 kilometers. Then only we would have some kind of capabilities which would be required during the time of when the balloon goes up. So, but China's capability, I was telling you, last year they launched 135 new missiles or the practice old missiles, which were the number of missiles. Those were, if you collect all of them across the world, in all the war zones or disturbed zones or crisis zones, these 135 number is bigger than that. So their progress in that area is phenomenal. Their hypersonic missile technology is much superior than anybody else besides Russia, because Russia has proven themselves in Ukraine. And we have proven, but it is still a demonstrator. And USA is way, way behind. So their rocket force was the force which, in fact, all the most capable, most loyal of the generals were being posted to Chinese rocket force. But what happened? Uh, 12 senior generals of rocket force were fired because it was found that they had fake parts instead of the fuel for the rocket. They had water filled up in there, and so there was huge corruption in the rocket force, and including the defense minister was fired, and nobody knows that after being purged whether he's alive or he's been killed. Okay, so that is the kind of corruption the rocket force as well as the PLA, PLF, PLN, all of them, they have this issue. So that is a big plus for us because whatever capabilities our missiles have, we are actually showing it lesser than what actually capability is. If our capability of Agni 5 is 8,000 kilometers, we are saying it is 5,000 kilometers. Okay, and there are no fake parts there. Whereas China, you are not sure. That is the biggest takeaway from India and China's capabilities when it comes to the rocket force.
Okay, sir. So, this when you were discussing asymmetric warfare, sir, I was thinking that there continuously we hear about asymmetric warfare and our adversaries, making use of our fault lines. So this is one big fault line you have just discussed, the corruption in the armed forces in Chinese Air Force and Navy and even that the other parties. So that is one
That's right.
thing.
So, what we yeah, go ahead.
So before
Go ahead.
before we yes, before we sum up this discussion, I would like to just, though it is extra and but it was very interesting to know about the asymmetric warfare you talked about. So, sir, what should be the
Yeah.
India's response? I mean, shall it be offensive to it, or should we, just think over filling our fault lines and not going offensive on Chinese? Like we know that there is we know about Pakistan, what is happening in Pakistan, but in China, you never know. It's always the diplomatic channels we get to hear. There is a press release in few months, and nothing inside what is happening in China.
So it is not that China is not impregnable because if you understand what happened in Hong Kong a few years back, those were the imprints of CIA. Same thing goes to Iran, the uh, what is it called? The Muslim woman they wear, uh,
Hijab, sir,
hijab.
hijab, yes. Mahsan
Yep. So the
Amini and
hijab
all of them.
revolution again, CIA imprint was there. Okay, so no country is existing where you cannot, penetrate. In fact, China's biggest worry today is Myanmar because USA is very well established and embedded in Myanmar today through the rebels. And China, that is why China is continuously backing the military junta and also as well as trying to keep good relationship with the rebels so that because their Yunnan region, it is touching and very porous with Myanmar, there could be a huge impasse from there if they let their guard down. So they are not letting their guard down. They're very smart in this aspect. So what we are seeing in Manipur and Northeast, they will not let that happen. Though they are 101% involved in what is happening in Manipur along with the other forces.
Okay, that's great. So, no country is impregnable. Yes, because that is what is made to believe by the Chinese media in whole the world. This China is one country and that whole one China policy and everything. So
Yeah,
it's
so they have very smartly, we will do some other topic sometime, and then I will explain to you how they have secured. They very early in the age of internet, they realized that internet is going to be the thing which will be medium for the propaganda, which would be the medium for controlling, okay, the populace and especially the youth. If you know that 80% of world's mobile phones are produced by China, 70% of the routers are produced by China, and 55% of the CCTVs are produced by China. Okay, so these are the various mediums through which you can track people as well as change their thought process by injecting your own thought process, and especially the mobile phone. And every youth has got mobile phone in hand, and he is getting messages from various social media platforms and directly also. And without verifying, a lot of guys get excited, and what we see around us, maybe in the Arabia or the Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, these are all very well executed and planned spring revolutions.
yes, sir. So even in whether these when Agniveer protests were happening, it was said that there were multiple fake videos being circulated by different social media channels to ignite the emotions of the young people who are looking to join in armed forces. So, sir, if your time permits, can we discuss army a little bit of army, or if your time permits, sir?
Okay, so what do you want to say? Because army is not my core area, but we can discuss maybe something. I don't know.
So you
What do you want? What?
just just the Galwan incident you wrote an article about, and it actually when I was looking at the podcast of Adi Achin sir, it gave me goosebumps, and the sheer numbers you told about the Galwan incident. I mean, everyone was thinking of either if you go with the official number, the four were dead, then 30, 21, but you went up to 100 plus, and it was so I don't know, is it sadistic or it is happening that we were happy that we lost 20 and we accepted it, but the Chinese are not, but they are paying it hard. At least they have to answer in their domestic audience that how did those 100 people died.
See, the biggest giveaway from China was that they waited till Feb 2021 to declare four losses. Okay. So that is the biggest giveaway, that they were thinking, they were in shock that how it has happened, why it has happened, and because it was planned by them. If you notice the kind of forces which were positioned on that fateful night, they were not the regular forces. They were brought in from other theater commands, and they were different. And then they had gotten prepared with all the nail-studded weapons, because
Yes.
they were not supposed to carry the firearms. So it takes preparation. It takes time to get even at those altitudes, those locations. You need the preparation for all that. It doesn't happen within 5 minutes that okay, I'll put nails in the club and I will start hitting you. No. So it was well prepared, well executed move from their side. So they were not ready for such losses. And this 111 number, what I told, it is not my number, but it was a number given by one Chinese dissident who is living now in USA, and he had conducted a meeting with the reporters, and there he had said that the Chinese numbers, whatever number they will come out with, will be is fake, because these are numbers are more than 100. And then from various places, we got inputs that how 50 odd numbers of these Chinese died on the spot, and rest all in the hospital.
Yes,
So
sir.
our only thing where we missed was that in that Josh, our Jawans, ran after them. All these Chinese started running back to their base, okay? And our Jawans chased them. But when they chased them and when they almost reached their base, then those guys were in huge number, okay? Hundreds of Chinese were there. So then they got outnumbered, and that's how they got captured. But we also captured. Okay, it is our goodwill that we do not show the pictures. It is our goodwill that we don't talk about. Our government doesn't talk about it. But the Chinese propagandists, they post pictures on my Twitter timeline almost every day. Okay, some of them are fake Pakistani actors, and some of them could be real. Nobody knows. But on the daily basis, they come on my Twitter handle and post those pictures. Till today, okay, it's 2025. So just imagine that how shaken they were by that article of mine. It crossed 1 million readership. Okay,
Yes, sir.
that article. So
Even
that
the
became a huge hit.
Yes, even the point you mentioned that the whole fight was being live streamed in from their drones, and their journals were shocked, being seeing their young soldiers being thrashed by the Indian forces. So
That's right.
that is
That's
my, I've seen many Chinese media posts talking about 1962 before this incident happened in Galwan, and then suddenly the voice got subtle, and they not actually keep repeating that 1962, India should remember 1962. So they can understand that more than 50, 60 years have passed, and Indian Army is totally different now, and Indian Armed Forces are not as same as 1962.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
so sir, conclude. You can conclude by just all these this Navy and Air Force thing, and then
Yeah, so I will see. We have already spoken about the Indian Navy, Indian Air Force, their rocket force, their
rocket force.
capabilities and capacities. In fact, we've also dwelled upon uh, what is lacking there, what is our strength and weaknesses, what are their strengths and weaknesses. But uh, behind the whole scenario is standing Mr. Xi Jinping. Okay, the Chinese president for life, and he is a dangerous person. If you, whether you like it or you don't like it, what makes him dangerous is the faltering Chinese economy. China or the Xi Jinping or the party, okay, the Communist Party, Chinese Communist Party, CCP, they hold their sway over their population, their citizens, only because they have money to show them. And now, if that money is vanishing, going out, then they have nothing to show. And that makes Xi Jinping an dangerous person, because to take your attention away, to divert your attention from the real problems, he might start a war, whether it is Taiwan or it is India. You just don't know. Okay, don't go by their smiley faces and shaking hands with us. They are the most unreliable people existing on the planet. In fact, on my Twitter handle, I call them China Hyena. Okay, that's how the hyena animal, okay, it never
Yes, sir.
catches its own, prey.
Prey.
Rather, it
Mhm.
preys on the prey of the other prey. So that's how the China is. It is. It's just like hyena. There, if you look at their economy, it has been sliding since 2007. Okay, and now today, once Xi Jinping took over in 2010 and followed by 2013, it has become a total mess, and it is actually very erratic. Sometimes it goes up 1%, then comes down 2%. Also, their economic numbers have been cooked because it's just like that great leap forward of Mao era. These numbers also cook because the local governments, they are in tremendous debt. They were selling land at exorbitant price, buying from farmers and other dwellers at cheaper rates, and but that model has collapsed because 48% of Chinese economy was working on real estate, and that the real estate has collapsed. That means 48% of their economy has collapsed. So that's a huge, huge setback for their economy. Then Xi Jinping, in his own wisdom, to control the tech companies, he has smashed their progress and their way of working, and their valuation has also come down. So two main pillars of their economy, technology, and the real estate, they have collapsed. So more than 50% of their economy has collapsed. Every day, you see almost last year, 2024, 20,000 plus major restaurant chains stopped working. Okay, that's a huge number. That shows that the consumption is reduced. That shows the money in the hand of Chinese people has reduced. And that is a big worry for Xi Jinping. And as well as that screw being tightened from USA and other European nations, it is becoming more and more difficult for them to continue. Despite that, if you go back in the history, just the economists of the world, they started saying that China may be the biggest economy in the world by 2020. Did not happen. Then they said 2024. It did not happen. Then they started saying 2028. Now they have revised it to 2035 or 36. And then they say that 2036, China will become the biggest economy in the world. By 2057, it will again come down below USA. USA will again take over. And by 2081, India would be the biggest economy in the world. Okay, these are not my words, but these are various experts from London School of Economics to Japanese institutes to various others. They have projected all this. So India, as such, if it keeps playing the right game, stays away from the war because nobody has benefited from the war, whether it's the losing side or the winning side. And very smartly, we have stayed away from the conflicts. And if we just stay on path, because 2025 onward, this is a very tough time. I had written recently one article which became a huge hit, crossed 1 lakh readership. The 2025 onwards, how India should move forward and work its way through this chaotic world until 2035. In my projection, till 2025 to 2035, it's a very, very difficult phase the world is going to go through. And I have not declaring it today. I declared it in 2018 in my articles. If you go back and read my articles, in 2018, we're looking at the trend and the historic. So I had to mix two models, historic evolutions as well as the futuristic trends. I mixed them and I came to a conclusion that 2025 onwards, there will be huge churning in the world. And so I hope that I'm not correct, and I have been proven wrong, and the world stays safe. But what we see around us, it looks like it is that is what is happening.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your time, sir. And
Thank you
thank
so
you so
much,
much
Shivam. And
for our show
yeah,
and giving this a detailed explanation of the topic.